Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo have signed a peace deal at a summit in Washington hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump aimed at ending a long-running conflict in eastern Congo. The agreement comes after an escalation of fighting earlier this year when the M23 rebel group seized key cities, displacing thousands and causing heavy civilian casualties. While both presidents, Felix Tshisekedi and Paul Kagame, have endorsed the deal, the rebels were not present, and fresh clashes continue to be reported on the ground. To help us understand what this deal could mean for the region and its people, we are now joined by Lionel Nditabiriye, Kigali-based political analyst and editor of the Pan-African Review. Lionel, good morning to you and thank you for making time.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. So now that the Washington summit has concluded, what's your first reaction to the peace deal between Rwanda and the DRC?
Well, it was needed. It's a first in the right direction, but as you said, the conflict continues, the fighting continues. So we should keep in mind that the primary conflict is between the Congolese government and the M23 movement. And as long as this conflict has not been settled, whatever agreement is signed with Rwanda or the United States, because here we are talking about an economic agreement whereas American companies can work with Rwanda and Congo to extract minerals for refinement in Rwanda and then for export in the US. So the primary conflict must be resolved because whatever conflict there is between Rwanda and Congo arises from the fact that in its fighting with the M23, the government of Congo has recruited the FDLR as another armed group to help it flush out the rebels. And so if the primary conflict is not resolved, then the conflict between Rwanda and Congo will continue.
So how significant is this deal then in practical terms? Because as you say, on the one hand, the M23 rebels, first of all, they were not present there, but fighting continues. And then on the other hand, it's being hailed as a major step forward.
No, this is, I would say, the American and Western media, making buzz about it. But the real truth is that the main process is in Doha. It is between Congolese, because as long as there is no peace between Congolese, there cannot be peace with neighbors, and which means that the conflict inside Congo is affecting neighbors and sometimes drawing neighbors in because you are using foreign militia groups to fight your own people. And that foreign militia group is made up of people who committed genocide in 1994. So you understand that Rwanda could not sit idle while this was happening. So it's the primary conflict that is provoking the conflict, interstate conflict.
So how much power then or influence can Washington realistically have in enforcing this deal, the U.S. Being the ones mediating the summit and promising investment in the region?
The only way to enforce this agreement is to find a way to find a peace deal or to force a peace deal on Congolese actors. And of course, when I use the word force, I wouldn't want it, but as of now, they're not willing to make peace. So for you to enforce a peace deal where most of the mining rights that you are getting are in about mines that are not even under the control of the government, for you to enforce that deal, which is an economic deal, you have to make sure that there is a peace agreement between Congolese actors, and that peace is implemented. So the Doha track, we must keep an eye on it, because if it doesn't succeed, then the Washington peace deal will not work at all.
Both Presidents Tshisekedi and Kagame, They've both expressed hope and commitment. So, from Kigali, how realistic is it that these commitments will be followed through?
Well, if you heard the government spokesperson, she said, Yolanda Makolo, she said that they were cautiously hopeful. The addition of the word has a meaning because so far it's been 5 months since the signing of this peace agreement. It was signed in June, 27 June, and there has not been any operation targeting the M20, the FDLR. There has not been anything approaching the kind of implementation that we would expect when it comes to a genocidal group. So I don't know, but we will have to wait. I myself don't see the government of Congo doing that because it needs the FDLR to fight the M23 rebels. And since it needs them and continues to arm them, it means the conflict with Rwanda may escalate.
What are ordinary citizens on the ground saying about how they feel about this agreement and previous agreements with the back and forth that's been happening, and what should they be expecting looking ahead?
I think people on the ground, Congolese citizens, are tired of this conflict. They would like to see it, and they would like to see peace agreements implemented. But the political, I would say, the political environment in Kinshasa is not conducive to peace because President Tshisekedi made strong commitments to his I would say, rather radical base. He promised victory. He promised that he will never integrate these M23 fighters into the army. He promised that refugees would not return until, because he's insinuating that they are not real Congolese. And so I don't see Kinshasa making any concessions to the M23. And even when they sign agreements or principles in Doha, those are not implemented. Kinshasa has refused to free any prisoner linked to the M23. It has refused to implement the ceasefire agreement. It keeps bombing those areas. It wants to retake those towns. So as things stand now, I think we are going to see more fighting, and maybe people will return to reason if the M23 advances again, or maybe the Kinshasa can make some gains, and the rebels could lower their demands. But I don't see that happening, knowing the state of the Congolese army. So it is more likely that the rebels are going to advance again, and that in that case, maybe Kinshasa will be more pragmatic.
Lionel, thank you so much for your insights, and we appreciate your time again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Lionel Nditabiriye is a Kigali-based political analyst and editor of the Pan-African Review, helping us unpack the outcomes of the Washington summit there. Our time now being 7:16 Central African. Let's take a look at this story coming to South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa saying South Africa will not lobby other countries to boycott this month's G20 Sherpa meetings in the United States. This follows U.S. President Donald Trump's decision not to invite Pretoria to the preparatory meetings and the actual G20 Leaders Summit late next year. Ramaphosa was exclusively speaking to the SABC News on the sidelines of COSATU's annual charity golf challenge event, this in Johannesburg, on Thursday. The president said South Africa will never look down on any nation